Greetings and welcome, Life Gainers. It's your host, Lamont Tyson, sitting with talk radio legend Rick Whitmire, my co-host James Booker. This is going to be one of our political segments. I'm going to kind of co-host because the person who has the hits for political talk is this man. And what did you want to discuss with us today? And thank you for gracing us with your presence.
Oh, thank you. Of course, you can download the Brad and Britt podcast from iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, bradandbritt.com, wherever you get your podcasts. If you got that Dogcatcher app or the podcast app on your iPhone, whatever you got. Beyond Pod's a great one. Podcast Addict is the one that I use. We're all over the place. So please download, see if you like it. If you do like it, tell a friend. If you don't, shut up. So, this is one of those stories that just kind of popped up over the weekend. This woman named Rachel Dolezal, who was the president of the Spokane chapter.
Wait a minute. This sounds like it's going to be one of those black. Lord! Now, do y'all see what's going on? The black dude in between two white guys.
Welcome to Ask a Black Man. There's this woman named Rachel Dolezal, who was the president of the NAACP, and who many people thought was an African American.
Now, why did they think that? Ryan?
Well, she did things with her hair that she would make you think that, and I think maybe even wore some makeup. And she was the president of the NAACP. So I don't know if anybody explicitly ever asked her, "Hey, are you black?"
Because it never occurred to them.
No, they just kind of thought, and she presented as such. And this created quite a firestorm over the weekend. She resigned on Monday as president of the NAACP chapter in Spokane, saying this had just caused too much attention. And to me, people have used this story. Oh, this means this about society. And to me, it's not one of those stories that you can extrapolate to mean anything about anything.
Mm-hmm. It was one person.
It's like, one of those stories where a dude stabs a guy over a pork chop in Alabama or something. It's weird. I don't know why she did it. But I would like to ask you, on behalf of all black people,
I was hoping it would go.
Are you offended in any way by this person's actions, and should I be offended by this person? Because I'd really like to know. I'm having I can't really work up any offense to this.
From an educated professional standpoint,
yes,
and then from just I'm off the riff standpoint,
yes.
I think that culturally, I can see why some African Americans would be angered by the way she got to her position.
Okay.
But her being in her position would then take those same people and make them happy because she's supposedly representing an organization that is fighting for equality.
Okay.
But, some African Americans may take the approach of the experience that an African American has to go through from childhood until the point where she was at as an adult is not the same
because
if you're not an African American, which could probably make some angry.
Okay.
And so I think that might be the point that's got people divided on this issue.
Yeah.
You're happy that she was working for an organization that is supposed to represent equality.
Right.
But she didn't really get to that position on the correct merits.
Okay, so you think she skipped a couple of steps?
Well, I would say she went from elementary school to the President of the United States in one queen snap, just like that.
And she used race, faking it, to do,
And we just have to be honest about it. If those pictures that we have seen that her parents have posted of her Czech background are true, you had to do some work to get your hair to look kinky twisted like that.
Right.
And then she always looked a certain perfect tan. And having said all that, again, what she was trying to stand for is fine, but if you're going to stand for that, just be honest in where you came from.
Okay. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, have we heard much about, I know she was president of that chapter, but did she actually accomplish anything? Was she doing good work? We don't hear about her accomplishment. It would be a whole different thing if they were saying, but look all this amazing stuff she did.
Yeah.
All that came about because she pretended about this one thing. We're not hearing that.
Well, I think she was doing a good job, but I don't know if she was, I don't know if she was doing a spectacular job.
Right.
I don't know about that. It sounds like the family's kind of messed up.
I was going to ask, what preempted the parents to, in essence, ratting on her?
I don't know why they did this. I don't know exactly how this came up, and I don't know.
One story I did catch, I don't know if this is true. I heard this story at some point was that they didn't actually go out of their way to tell on her. This was somebody else was suspicious and questioned the parents, and they told the truth. But they didn't specifically contact anybody and say, hey, she's faking this. They were asked.
You got it.
And they responded.
I understand that she fostered, they either adopted or they fostered several African-American kids, and she identified, and I don't know. I also just saw something that she had filed a lawsuit against Howard University in 2002 when she was Rachel Moore, some discrimination thing, and I don't know exactly how all this goes, but what this is being extrapolated as, especially in the right-wing media, is, this is because of what, and I don't know exactly what point they're trying to prove about liberals not being, I think they're trying to say that, well, liberals would not have accepted this woman if she would have just been a white woman working for the NAACP. And there's all this projection. When I just think it's just such a freak situation, you can't really extrapolate.
And it took less than a day after the story to come out to hear, how are they linking this to the Bruce Jenner?
Right.
That took less than a day for people to start saying these two stories are related.
There's no relation.
Almost no way are these two stories related.
No.
Well, the great czars of talk radio, the Hannitys, the Becksteins, and Rush, they always have a way of linking these stories.
Well, that's the problem, is that every time, a dog gets hit by a car, they grab that, and it's supposed to prove this greater thing about some sort of conspiracy.
You mean just like if you was a right-winger, you would come troll me out as your great black friend that's educated and married to a doctor?
You need to stand behind me and prove my points.
Okay.
So, no, I don't really think this is symbolic of anything. I don't think it really means, I kind of feel sorry for this woman feeling like she had to do this for whatever reason. It does bring up to me an interesting point that we talked a little bit on the Brad and Brit podcast today about there's legitimately a lot of mixed race kids that do have a problem identifying one way or the other.
Absolutely.
With they're not accepted by these guys, and they are by these. Sometimes they're not accepted by anybody.
Right.
That's tough. That's not what this is. That's very difficult. This is like it's funny to me, and I think there are probably a lot of African American women. They try to get their hair not to look like that. And here this woman was probably spending a lot of money trying to get her hair to look like that.
I even asked my wife about that. My wife said, all you got to do is throw a perm in there and twist it on up. And there you go. You walk on ticket. But to highlight something you just said, something that has gone on with African Americans in the South that my wife didn't really realize is there's even scrutiny amongst African Americans of the ones that are my complexion versus the ones that are light skinned.
I didn't even realize that until the Spike Lee movie. Was it School Days?
Yeah.
I had no idea, and that was one of those movies where art really kind of illuminated a situation. It's a real thing, right?
In the South especially, because it illuminates this perception that when we was coming out of slavery, we were starting to get a little bit more rights and freedom. The lighter skin was more accepted.
Right.
The lighter skin was going to be the one that would get to be the house person.
Right.
More so than the one that's extremely dark, that's probably been working outside.
The fields.
So, and that has pit certain African Americans against each other.
It's amazing.
To the point where it's like, there was back in the day where it was, most women or most people wanted to date light-skinned guys with hair of the texture of Anglo-Saxon Americans.
White hair.
And but because this country and its greatness has progressed beyond that point, some of those things are starting to go away.
Yeah, have you faced that in your life about the whole the complexion thing, or not? In the black community,
in elementary school, perhaps. But
because they would just call you names, and it was better to be.
Yeah, and it just, back in my day, all the light-skinned people, no matter if you was butt ugly, they just looked good because they had colorful eyes.
And you hated them because of that, right?
I didn't hate them. My thing was like, why did I have to be the way I am? Not necessarily that I hated them.
Yeah.
Because one of my best friends was someone of mixed race.
Right.
And I loved this guy to death. And I didn't hate him, but I always wanted to be him. Just for that reason.
Well, as you go throughout life, it kind of turns though, because if you're darker complexion, that means you're like a real African American. And these light skinned guys over here, they're mixed or whatever. We're the real guys, right?
Well, I think that what's happened is since over time, the perception and that stigma has just dropped a little bit.
Good.
Because if there's any part of black in you, more than likely you probably had to go through some black experience.
Of course.
You know, so that perception has just changed more so than the latter. And I just think that we're doing well that we can sit here in the South.
Oh, yeah.
And that I can sit here with two guys who are Anglo-Saxons that I call good friends and not be ridiculed by people of my skin complexion that are as dark as I am and say, what am I doing?
And, you know, I can't help but think, is that what was going through her head is when she was little? Was she saying, why was I born this way? And, you know, the same thing, like, did she think she was the wrong complexion?
Hey, you're starting to sound like Rush. See, they're trying to say that if you want to just wake up and say that you're a woman and you really got man parts, you should be able to just make the choice. You're starting to sound like you're making a Rush
Certainly
parallel
not my
here.
intention. I'm just trying to figure out what this woman was thinking for the last how many years?
And I'm sure that Rush is saying that there are advantages to being black in society. That's why people are choosing to be black. Is that what Rush is saying?
Well, sure.
There are reasons that people want to be black, folks.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
People only want to be 12% of the American population, and 35% of them have bad credit, and none of the financial connections that the Anglo-Saxons had. Yeah, there's great reasons to want to be African
They get
American.
treated so well by cops. I mean, there's also that. So there's no reason, really. I don't see a downside. But you do wonder at some point in her life, but she goes, gosh, I could get ahead if only I was black. At what point did that happen? When she's 14, 16, 25?
Maybe what happened to her was maybe she had some African American friends that had went through so much trauma, she just really had apathy for them and wanted to fight for them. Maybe she wanted to be a soldier of fortune for them.
Maybe so.
But what we need to find out is what's going on in her mind.
I think it's a messed up family. You were talking about the hair thing. If you watch the Sonny Vaccaro special, Soul Man, the ESPN 30 for 30 film, it's on Netflix now. Sonny Vaccaro was an Italian guy. He kind of grew an afro back in the day, and it helped him kind of be down with the black community in New York when he was signing basketball players.
And this guy was signing basketball players to shoe deals in college like it was nobody's business. And so I seen some of that. So he attempted to play the part.
He did.
To win the trust of African Americans quick, early, and often.
And it worked.
It worked.
He had like the afro, and he had like the big wing collar stuff, like in the 70s and stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
and eventually it turned. Again, everything kind of goes back around to where that industry was certainly exploiting a lot of young black men, and still continues to do it even today.
Don't get us started on the NCAA.
That's a whole different deal.
It's a whole different deal. And so I think that, you know, what we just need to find out from her, we just need to hear her talk.
Yeah.
You know, she needs to come out, sit with Katie Couric, or she can come sit on Life Games channel and just figure out what was going on.
Why'd you say Katie Couric? What's wrong with Oprah? I don't understand. It sounds like you're being racist.
Okay. But I did throw me in there, so there's that. So now I guess I'm being sexist too because I offered it to a woman before I offered it to a man. But I think that we just need to hear her perspective. What preempted her to go to that position the route she did? Because no one is upset with her being in that position.
No.
I can tell you, no black person is upset because she was ahead of NAACP, even if she presented herself as an Anglo-Saxon. Nobody's going to be mad about that.
They're confused.
But
just like the white people are confused.
But how you got there, young lady?
There might be some explanation that needs to be
That's where the questions come in.
Okay,
So
I get you.
I guess we'll have to pick up on this another time and see what happens.